Julia then. Awesome tune. So I used to play this without a capo, barring with my index. It was much harder. I would do something like this for the D chord. Then something like that, of course, for the basses. It would get too hard. It wouldn't actually come out good any of the times. It would fail. But with a capo on, it's easier. If you want to go hardcore without a capo, you could do that. But now we're going to cover the capo case. So the plain chords are the following. If you want to just stick to the root chords without picking and stuff, it's the D, E, and F sharp minor, and then we go to an A minor 7, and then to B major, and then the calls me haunting part is a little bit peculiar because it contains this G major 7 with an additional 9 barred chord, and then you lift off and you go for that G minor 7 with another 9. These are the hardest barring parts of it, these two chords. If you can bar these easily, then you can go through the song with ease. So you have these, and then back to the D, B and F sharp. And the only other part that changes is, of course, the mellow bridge, the C sharp minor, back to the D, and then you go for a B minor 7 and B minor 6. And then you play with the F sharp minor, going descending half step by half step. In this 7 to 6 to flatted 6 to natural 5th. And then of course again D, B. You can add this 9 here because it does that in the picking. Play it here, and then for the outro you switch between F sharp and D, and you do something like that. I have this D and A played here. This is actually better with open strings, clearly, because he does pretty much something like that. He has the F sharp bass, then something like an A6 with an A, but a D. So actually it could be a F sharp minor with it is an F sharp minor actually. The notes are plain F sharp minor, I think, except for the D. It's something like an augmented F sharp minor. But anyway, the outro is, and you could use a bass nuance to this chord. You could actually pick it slightly with the thumb and close to the nut of the guitar to make it sound a little bit heavier and bassier for an outro. These are the plain chords to play with. Now the other parts are picking, and the picking parts are simple. You have the strong and the weak of each measure, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And what you're going to do for the picking, actually you're going to add this. It's a 7th for the B minor. It is a plain 5th, what you could call a 12th for if you could add it over the chord for the D major. And the picking has a particular pattern that goes throughout the entire song. And it goes like that. You have to play with the basses if you'd like to. The plain way of doing it, when I was doing it without the capo and I was forced to stretch and bar, I would only do the high notes of it and go something like this. But there is an incredible bass playing. I don't know if an acoustic guitar is playing it or a bass is playing it during the song, but it's phenomenal and it adds to the song. So if you want to play the song entirely and sounding extremely nicely, you have to add that bass. And the bass actually does plainly in the beginning. Half notes if you count it fast like I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It kind of helps me because I have bigger notes to play with than quarter notes instead of eighth notes. Higher divisions, lower divisions actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the bass does a 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 half notes. So the picking then, we'll go through the bass, all the shape. But the picking is the following. I'll use the bass for this first chord and I will play just the first two bass notes of the D chord. If you're an intermediate player, you could just imitate this fill and get it straight off. I lost it because I was talking. You can get it straight away, but I'm going to go through the rhythm of it just for precision's sake. And the rhythm of it is the following. So what you should notice is, forget the fact that we are picking two at the same time here. The bass and the fifth up here. What we're doing is the following. So if you count it in a 4x4 measure, it's ding doo doo doo, ding doo doo doo, ding doo doo doo, which is quarter, 8/8, and a half note. If you start with this, you have a good foundation of what's going to happen then. This is the base of it, the foundation. Then, ding, 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 ding. At the second eighth note of the third beat, the arcis of the third beat, you're going to add a note that, of course, gives everything to the rhythm. Without that note, it would be a boring little song. Sorry. You're adding that D note there. At the arcis of the third beat. So, and of course you're simultaneously picking this note with the first note you pick. So without this simultaneous picking, it would be like, sorry. This is a basic pattern to keep in mind. If you add the first note, you almost have it, you're just missing one note then. You have the simultaneous picking of two notes at the first beat. The only thing you have to add ding do 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 is at the fourth beat, adding an extra note right here, the F sharp, which is the third of the chord. So ding 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 ding. dum. This comes at the fourth beat. So there you have it all. You have to construct it little by little. You start off like this. That are, plain words of a note, just quarter notes, an eighth note, and a half note. Then you add this cheeky little, it should be, of course, dotted quarter note, the duration of this D here. Let's leave out this high A for a moment. This is what gives the interesting rhythmical aspect of it. This dotted quarter note here that lasts the second part of the third beat, the second eighth note of the third beat, and the entire fourth beat. This is what gives it the interest here. You get this idea. You got the idea. Now, it is important, of course, to bear this in mind. And following, you have the simultaneous picking of this note here, and the ending of the fourth beat. So you got this at the end, exactly at the fourth beat. I went through this in great detail and discussed it even further than it should need for an intermediate player out there, but it is the one picking schema you're about to follow for the song. You recycle through this. The strings that you will be picking might change, but it's going to be the same with every chord that you play during the song. So the bass is going to change, and let's see all the chords slowly picked with their bass notes now from the beginning, all the verse, all the chorus, and all the bridge. I'm not going to play the entire song, but for the verse, it starts off and goes on just like this. So we switched to this B minor 7 with the 7th as well here at the G string, and we finished at the F minor with the added 9 here, which is actually the third of the chord, but we call it an added 9. And the picking is the one I told you for all the chords. The bass note changes from this to this. Now, a thing a little bit more advanced to do, but it would sound extremely good, would be to mute actually the bass notes when they shouldn't be ringing. I haven't managed to do that, but if you could do it, it would be great. For example, do something like this. Here with the D note at the beginning, it's happening on its own. But here, instead of just letting it, of course with a thumb, when you pluck the F sharp note, you could mute the B relatively easily. And then of course using the thumb to mute the F sharp as well. What's going on? Helicopters. But here when you're at the F sharp shape and picking, you could do, with the ring finger, mute that chord after you played it, and then with the thumb muting the F sharp. If you could do that, that would be great because it would sound a lot better, but still it's just a little bit of an addition there. So we've seen this amount of shave. This is a tricky change, do not make yourself forget it. Always bear in mind that when I begin the verse, I need to switch the ring finger up there because you could easily forget it and go something like this. Doesn't sound like the recording. So if you could do that with the bass, it would be great. Again, been off for a while. We begin the verse like this. The mistake that I was talking about. I made the mistake rather. And then switching from that B minor 7 to this, the A minor 7. This is a little bit tricky because you have to pick one note for the basses and for the high note arpeggios as well. And the note is this E here. So you pick it several times. It could be sounding a little bit odd if you keep focusing on it, but it is how it should sound, to be fair. As you can see, the picking pattern rhythmically is exactly the same. And we'll move on. I would prefer to do it bar because this is the way I hear it in the recording, and of course it's easier to do. Exactly the same pattern rhythmically. Here you exploit all 6 strings, while here you stick to not using the B string. Sorry. And then you have to switch to those two haunting little chords, the part shapes here. The bass is doing this, D to G, and it is giving all of the meaning to these chords. And the other shapes is this. Altogether is like this. It's amazing. Then you're back to the verse chorus. And then for the Her Hair of Floating Skies is Shimmering, the bridge. You stick twice to this bass and then go to the C sharp minor, but barring all the strings so you can get because it would be required for the bass. The bass goes like this. Stick to this chord. Then you're back to the D with a regular bass of D to A. And then the full B minor without the 7th ringing. And with the 7 up here. The bass is B to F sharp. And then F sharp with the 7th, 6th, flatted 6th and 5th. The bass goes like this. Then here again. And then for the ending, you switch between the F sharp minor and the D major. You stick to the D major. And slowly you move to this position and do this slow arpeggio, trying to be warm with the picking of the chord. This sort of, as we saw, F sharp minor with mented 5th. So. that change, but it should be possible. You can slow it down as well. The hard thing is to get my arm over here to do the warm arpeggio, but still, you could go for a cold arpeggio over here as well, which would make it easier. That is Julia by the Beatles. Awesome. Melancholic. Thank you very much for this. More could be coming soon, as well as a cover of the song perhaps. Bye bye then. Keep safe, keep healthy, stay at homes, and listen to good music.